everyone, this is Makiko from Reiki Lab, and then today I have a co-host.
Hi, I'm Dave.
We're broadcasting from North Carolina today, so welcome. So this is a part 2 of a collective question, and then answer response by Andrew Bartzis. So welcome. What we're going to do today is we're going to do quick review of a previous session, which is the part 1, and then we're going to go dive into the rest of the session, which was New Earth and the New Universe, and a little bit more detail on what New Earth will look like. And I'm going to share the screen with you all, and do let me know via Facebook Messenger if you cannot hear or see the screen, because I can check from here. I am going to share the screen now, and please do let me know if you can see the screen. Welcome back. It looks like somebody see it, so I'm gonna trust. All right.
Carl.
Yep.
I'm going. So she's staying.
All right. So basically, we went through quickly the introduction of who I am and about my childhood as a spiritual experience, what kind of spiritual experience I had, how I met Andrew, and quickly about my awakening process, and how we got here to form the boot camp member, and which kind of connect us all here, the time now. And we went through one of the...
Would you like to answer?
Yes, the whole group question. All right, so just a second, let me tune everyone in. So this individual pod of people is all soul families from the third incarnation of Earth's pyramid system. So you're all pyramid builders. That's the first thing. You're all a set of psychic frequency builders. All of you have DNA light frequencies to the Gomboid insectoid species, which are half ant beings, half, how do I describe it? Like an ant and a crab crossover kind of thing. Very hard-faced species, very different than some of the other insectoid species out there. They are not an egg-laying species. They are a spirit species. They give birth to energy, and then the energy manifests into a signature frequency of what would be considered a larva or a baby. So they have a different process. So all of you have gone through this individual mystical process where the old human beings that you were went through this energetic transformation and recrystallization of your DNA, very similar to the way you would transfer from the old born species, which has all triggered you to have a deeper understanding of your place in the time matrix. Each and every one of you are time travelers. Each and every one of you have had extensive lifetimes as part of the Lemurian time control system. And this would be Lemurian scientists at about 36 to 31 million years ago who were developing technology to observe the moods of time, knowing full well that uncreational events had been created before this. And this next wave of Lemurian time control agents were essentially the watchers of frequencies of time to determine if something else was going to come in and cause some form of negative reality manifestation. All of you are hardcore travelers to other frequencies of time, have all been entangled with the best and the worst. You've all been assembled here to put together a brain trust of personalities about One is the common moral code to do no harm, how to share that as a brain trust, and how as a brain trust to create fourth dimensional business plans that can be put into third dimensional action by people in places in time so that you can alter the frequencies of time by making places sacred. Here to put this between that moment of remote hearing, and you go through this.
So this is basically explain how the brain trust was formed. Now I like to go over to the Akashic record, mainly because we didn't go through in sequence last time. So here we go. This is a much better way to.
No, Andrew, I've had dreams with you.
Oops, sorry. Excuse me. Much better way to sum up.
For me, each timeline is a separate Akashic record, which makes it, for other people that are new to the material, very confusing. I don't really explain that to them. The Akashic record is everything.
Yes.
Everything that's here experienced, including the unentangled observers who are on their own world in another Akashic record experience, experiencing our Akashic record as unentangled quantum observers.
So that's, I know Barry gonna be next question, want to ask, but
For me, each timeline is a separate Akashic record.
very educational. So Akashic Record, maybe you could expand what you just said. What is the pros and cons of Akashic Record? Is there something the Akashic Record cannot record?
There is nothing the Akashic record cannot record, but individuals can create energetic graffiti around it that makes it difficult for the untrained eye to see the imprint that's on top of it. Because the imprint is some form of polarity that's trying to use the observer, because they know that someone is observing the Akashic records. But to be a part of the Akashic records means that you're in sacred neutral, so that when you run across a bump in the road of the Akashic record, it might have some graffiti that might send you into polarity, which will make it very difficult to go any further, or something else might take over in some of the explanations. Some part of your past life that's still in polarity won't let you go any further, but that's the individual's issue, because somebody weaponized the observer and made him set up a minefield. Once you learn these techniques, they're just kids with coloring sticks. They're easy to get by.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Hey,
If you walked up under a wall with a bunch of kids scribbling on it, are you afraid of it? No. It's kids scribbling. But at the time they wrote it, they thought they were the superpower being. They're kids scribbling though.
Yeah. There's an experienced trained eye to go through that. I understand. Thank you. Barry, are you ready?
In terms of our aspirations here on Earth in the 3D realm, it seems like to me like you encourage that we seek out healing, and part of that is through love and compassion. But the sacred neutral seems to be the central emphasis over and over again. And I'm wondering, what's the interface between those, at least in your experience?
It's how I'm able to observe the Akashic record and not retain the polarity of what I see.
Okay.
So
but then in terms of, sorry, go on.
It is the way I look at the data, and the data does not change me by the observing. It is in a form of quantum mechanics an unentangled observer. Meaning, the idea that as long as something's being observed, you're entangled and changing it. The Akashic record is a continuous stream of information, and it can be, in a sense, viewed as changing, but in fact it isn't changing. It's you that's changing from your belief. And when you reach the sacred neutrals, You're not allowing polarity to affect the soul's presence in the physical body. You're allowing the soul and the mind and the spirit and the body to process all the information simultaneously and then manifest it as an experience, whether it's out loud or internal in the mind, spiritual, whatsoever. It makes a manifestation. That manifestation, when done in sacred neutrality, has the most amount of information that isn't in polarity, that will not lead you down a false mind trail. I already maintain the neutral perspective enough so it's a part of my everyday background life. And I still enter polarity. I still have times where the human being and the DNA that's reacting to karmic exchange that is coming at the most subtlest of levels. So it is a cutting down of the karmic weeds so that I don't fall into polarity and believe that I'm in sacred neutral when I'm not. We can easily delude ourselves. And this process determines how I connect to the Akashic Record. Like before I do a session in any given day, I set up a specific grid, and there's already a grid that's set up there. I add this day's frequency to it, and then at the end of the day or end of the sessions, I close that frequency so it can no longer be reopened. Only my dreaming body and the ancestors that I'm working with are dealing with that energy. This I am being is now separate of that portal experience. So that is a form of sacred neutrality, creating a strategy of energetic neutrality around me so I'm not forced into polarity and can continue my daily walk in through my normal polarities that I create through my own mistakes or victories.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for that.
I was working on a lady extremely, extremely haunted. And no matter what I was doing within the Akashic Record, she was not understanding any of it because it was really the ghost that was wanting the reading and not the physical being. And then there's where polarity as the individual human being reader says, no, I'm not going to read your Akashic Record. And what I will do is then do a different form of psychic communication where I will start a dual channel communication. One that is meant to remove the entity from the person and to transit into the light, and then activate the ancestral guardians of the beings so that the being themselves goes through a recapitulation and a renewal of their own source frequency energy. So when you hear me people do the repeat after me, I'm literally targeting the individual words that the being gave away their power with so that they can get their power back.
Or heart center, okay. Interesting.
Think of my two eyes, look out my heart, and then after a while, when I'm in enough of the flow, my third eye comes out my heart. And that is what's connected to my throat, and also literally can change the meaning of what I'm saying after you've already processed it.
Interesting.
Because there's a whole empathic and telepathic communication that's going on with your parasympathetic body in conjunction with these out loud words.
Huh.
So there's many channels of conversation.
It's interesting too because the heart we correlate with love, the feeling of love, but for you it's your communication with the neutral perspective. So I don't know if
Andrew, can you describe basically how you experience or absorb the Akashic Record? I mean, how do you receive that?
So there's a ritualized version of myself, a ceremonial version of myself, in which I did all of the self-protections, the sacred neutral teachings, so that a part of me can exist in the North Pole, which is where our ancestors exist, and which is the dreaming mind of Earth. And there's a part of me in the South Pole, which is where all of our 7 future generations exist, all the astral entities waiting to be born, as well as extra-dimensional sources. So one part in the North Pole, one part in the South Pole, one part 1 second in the future, one part 1 second behind me. And that's where the sacred neutral perception allows me to observe everything as a pinpoint frequency of light. So that little pinpoint of light that I see goes from the right of my vision to the left of my vision, goes from my left eye to my right eye to my third eye, when it makes it to my third eye, it gives me a pulse that is a synopsis of English.
What is that?
Those are horses in the background. In the background.
I thought somebody.
May I ask a collective question? Everybody share this in one way or the other. Source.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any Akashic record on source?
Well, there was a time that there was no Akashic record recording. There were not planets in the universe. There were just suns. So that is when the first planet came into existence in our universe is where the Akashic record began. So what is Source? Source is a being who existed in some other form of the universe and reached its total expression that it discovered that it wanted to become the source for beings who are going to be going through long-term experiences. So they purposely enter a void space, and they encourage many others of their like mind to come with them. And then that one being tries to expand itself in that void space. And think of it like an engine with a spark plug. And sometimes it just doesn't have enough spark or just doesn't have enough fuel, and then it fizzles out. And that being is then recycled into the last universe that it was created in and starts its experience all over again. But all those other beings who were in void space waiting for that being to spark and actually create a universe, they get their turn, and then they get their turn until one actually creates enough spark with enough fuel to create a solar system, the first solar system, the centered nucleus of that universal expression. It then goes through a cooling down phase, and then it invites those other people in void space to immigrate directly into it as having some form of previous universal relation. So that universe takes on the first imprint of what it's going to be nourishing as an expression.
All right, let me just stop here. Oh, hello, we have the new audience panel member. Hi, how are you, Susan?
Susan, hi. Sorry I'm late.
Hi. I just wanted to check in. The visual and audio is acceptable, I do hope. This is the best that we can do at this moment.
Yes, I see you.
Okay, good.
Great.
All right, excellent. So I'm not sure you had a chance to listen the collective question part 1.
Yes.
Excellent. So just a quick overview from Akashic Record and go right into the rest of the topic we couldn't cover last time.
Right.
I want to make sure that people kind of grasp this session because Akashic Record, I just say Akash.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a vast topic, and basically describe as definition. Akashic Record is one of the most basic recording mechanisms the universe has. Basically, record everything. There is a one exception in the end. If there's no universe, a planet, no recording device. So there's who knows how long this source being existed before, but we know the source, the source of all sources is a quite old being.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, what is one of the beautiful principle to read Akashic Record is that more we be able to hold neutrality, sacred neutrality, more depth and vastness that one could receive, as well as how much trained eye need to have to see through the truth. The recording is not the one being written over. I guess it's just anything else about the profession, they require the skillful eye and experience. Then he goes to, there is a certain time that he purposely do not bring neutrality in extreme circumstances, which he described as a extremely haunted case, which is like this, basically one being abused right, do not respect your sovereign free will and then abuse that. And he kind of doesn't use that point, the neutrality. Then he goes on to explaining a mechanism of how he read, and then in a different way, I guess, in a way how he get to that 20,000 Akashic record, basically by having somewhat the physical as a soul shard, so to say, in all other worlds. So he has something as a him that's kind of bring as a vastness, the information of how vast and the size that perhaps nobody else be able to do. No other Akashic record reader be able to do at this point of time. And I'm just going to stop here and just go around the table. Does anybody want to add to it or have, ask a question or?
Well, I think before we got here on Earth, we were also part. We were taking our journey through the galaxy or other galaxies as part of the normal migration process. So we also have had shards on other planets also. So we would also have other Akashic records available to us from other worlds when we get to the point of accessing that information, or reaching the sacred neutral to read the records.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Don't stop. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and also you were wondering, how old, the universe is or source is. Well, there's been many immigrations into the universe, or I don't know if it's over 10, but I know there's 5 major immigrations. So I would imagine Source had additional invites after the first one for more beings to come in and join the experience here. So, but so we, so that means we also were from earlier universes, right? So our mind itself is 350 trillion years old, but we're older than the mind, so we're much older than 350 trillion years old.
Yeah. This, thank you, Carl. The more and more we think about it's endless, bottomless, how infinite being we are, right? It's basically Andrew is there to teach us and remind us of that. So yeah, that's beautifully said. Thank you, Carl, for comment. Anybody else like to add to that?
I thought it was interesting about, well, I don't know if it's a different topic, but he sees every Akashic record as a different timeline.
Yeah, good catch.
I never realized there was that many timelines, I guess, but could be infinite. I mean, how many timelines are there?
Oh, he probably answer you by thousands. Yeah, well, my question is that actually kind of related to it. How he even could count? Well, I have access to 20,000, 21,000, right? Last time you said.
Right, to 113 or whatever he said, to the exact number.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, actually, by the way, yesterday it's one more.
When he met a new person and read a new person, they put it in there.
Yes, but that means he has to remember all 20,000 or whatever, right? Oh, this is a new one because I know all 20,000. I can't even remember what I ate yesterday.
But he did say he stores it in the DNA as light. He got it out of his mind when he was young because it would overwhelm him.
Yes, I forgot about that. I'm still overwhelmed. Yeah. Where's my DNA storage?
Incredible skill he has developed. It's just, off the charts. How far he's taken it,
One of the private readings he had recently with me was, well, this Makiko hasn't realized the scale and the size. Well, he had the pretty good lead, right? He realized from 9, and he had 20 years. Well, still amazing, but I
Used it for free drinks for a while, but
free drinks there.
With his various jobs he had, in the restaurant business.
That's it. It was a drunken therapy.
The limo.
That's what it is.
Yeah, drunk therapy.
Drunk therapy. Yeah. That's what we had to do. I'm up for that. All right.
We'll read for booze.
Huh?
We'll read for booze.
Read for booze.
Is that American?
It's a barter system. I like it.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for follow-up. I would like, I'm gonna be here, clueless. Remember, I'm from different country.
Booze is alcohol. Anytime.
I see that now. Thank you. All right, Susan, would you like to add, or Jireen, would you like to?
No.
No. It's just to wake up in the morning and get going. Just don't bother me. I understand.
Well, I remember you made I watched one of your videos that you made on asking the question, right? Which was very interesting because with Andrew, the questions are so important because he has here's all the information. Well, how is he going to pinpoint anything? But when you ask the question,
can't ask. Yeah, exactly. He can't answer until you ask a question. That's how his reading works. So he said, asking questions is perhaps the most important job for us to him. But I heard similar things by other readers. So it's formulating a right question that we spend a lot of time in, which is the right place to, put the energy to, because
he's coming from the sacred neutral, so you have to engender the question specific for you because he's not allowed to interfere with your sovereignty.
I don't know, so level of your understanding. Remember that he's criticizing some of the love and light community because they push the envelope that they're giving information that the recipient is not ready for, ready to receive in their own neutral sacred neutrality. So, what he has to go through to give you an answer is not easy things. Still, I think it's. I'm not gonna say anything.
And Makiko.
Yes.
Or Dave, or anybody. Have you experienced or endeavored into being in the sacred neutral? How to maintain that state?
I try to practice everywhere, like in a grocery, waiting for the traffic light.
Taking it out of the situation so that you don't polarize. There's good, evil, and neutral, and you just have to be in that neutral and let them figure it out on the other side.
Yeah, but it's easy to say, right? It's not easy. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
Is neutral though? Would you consider polarity would be then our own opinion? For example, that would be into polarity, right? Sacred neutral. We're kind of like completely removed.
Also,
as far as our personality or whatever.
Yeah, right? It goes hand in hand with ego.
Yeah.
And belief system.
Kind of the divine inner child of just endless wonder. You don't grab onto anything, you just experience everything in the now.
Nice, the silent observer and Buddha and stuff.
I know that's really difficult. At first, I thought, my God, what a boring life, But then you don't feel anything because he said, if you reach to the point where you achieve the complete neutrality. It's basically the vein going through your skin or body. That's what is a true, expression of a neutrality. You basically don't think, don't feel anything. It's just that's
But
where.
you still can observe, though, right? So then you can still detect contrast, things
Yes,
like that.
absolutely. But the one other important teaching he teach, I don't think we air here. Zane pushed about the love and hate. The answer was very important for all of us because we automatically, I think, love and hate the equal weight in terms of polarity, right?
You can't have the one without the expression of the other.
That's what Zane asked, but his answer was that's not true. Hate is also love, but perverted view of love. So it's
Right,
not
I'll-
polarity. It's not even polarity. We are kind of in a way brainwashed in a way, love and hate, putting an equal portion of weight to the hate and made it polarized. In fact, that's a perverted expression of love that is a hate. See, so then from that aspect, what is a polarized view? There's no polarity in love because there's no opposite. From this 3D realm, we are polarized, love and hate. What is a neutral? There's no neutral. That's why we struggle so much. Our initial hypothesis is skewed totally. So this is why how we need to continuously challenge and ask right question. And somebody like Andrew perhaps need to steer us, because if Zane didn't ask and push him, he didn't answer the question, and we continue to believe in a belief system in giving too much power in a hate, which is probably hate is like a dot. If it's the love field is this entire room. Do you understand what I'm trying to explain?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very multifaceted, multi-layered. I mean, love could be in anything then.
Yes.
I mean, hate has passion, very, very intense passion in hate.
Yeah.
And maybe judgment too,
Yeah.
or criticism. These are passionate expressions.
But
So maybe there's love in there too.
Yeah, well, yes. But we gave too much power to those things in a 3D realm. I think that's what it is.
Right.
Well,
Right. We've been programmed.
I have another slant on another way that you might be able to look at it, which is the word affinity. Which affinity is how much you like or dislike something. You have high affinity or low affinity. And again, you can look at it like a magnet or polarity, because when you have good affinity, or you are really have affinity with something, you want it close, you want to pull it towards you. When you don't have affinity with something, you want it to be away from you. You want to push it away. So it's like positive and negative. Like you really love someone, you want them to be with you, and if it's your lover, you want it really close. If you hate someone, you want them far away, so far that you can't even see them. So it's a kind of another facet of love and hate, but with the really seeing the magnetism or repulsive part of that.
Well, unless you're in the mafia, because then you keep your friends close and your enemies even closer.
Yeah.
They love you, buddy. I have to kill him sometime soon.
Right. You gotta know where you are, man.
Well, no jokes, but hey.
Great point, Carl.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is important that, we could apply that magnetism again. This polarity, is that really polarity? It feels like polarity, but it's still maybe the same thing. Those two categories we think is polarity. We could kind of brain twist. Somebody say, hey, are you sure that you think it's a polarity? You say, but are you sure? we could do those exercises, kind of,
Yeah,
explore.
well, that's a whole nother session, Carl and Makiko.
I know.
What is polarity? I mean, there's a rabbit hole
You
right
you
there, isn't
start, because I'm trying to minimize those webinars actually, going forward. Because I can't really do much of other things. So it's like, oh my God, what I just did today. No, let's cut off the webinar. But this is fun. All right. Should we move on to the actual new topic?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hey,
I'd love
Todd,
to.
how are you? Todd, I see you. I'm so glad you joined us today.
Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Would you like to
Ni-
add something here, or should we go?
I'm just jumping in now, so
Okay.
you decide, and I will join in.
All right. Oh dear. Let's see. I'm gonna screen sharing. Present to everyone. Oh, right. So, oh, have fun. So just quickly, can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Great. 15 multidimensional beings. Last time Andrew uploaded the status, I think this is a confirmation of what he said the last time we heard. But here we go. So currently, 15 multidimensional beings represents only 17% of the surface population, which is down from 40%. 3 of those 15, those mafia, accepted to be recycled themselves by galactic central sun. 6 are still acting as a cabal controllers, and the rest of the 6 move out from this universe, which is the 17th universe, and it created micro universe in 18th universe. So what is the 18th universe? 18th universe is, I think, it's a little tricky because I thought this is a place we all go after graduation, but doesn't look like that is the right statement. So the following is a statement Andrew said. Sentient beings are already there. And a wonderful question asked by Carl. There are some graduates already waiting in a void space, or actually on the 18th universe. So graduates are there, and many ascended masters, and also 6 of 15 multidimensional beings and satanic forces under domination and control theme, and their minions, as well as the beings who wish to eliminate our universe. I just do not feel very warm and fuzzy kind of universe. So I have like let's decide before check off from here. And then we touch upon a void space. So what is a void space? The space in between universes before the new universe is created. And he talks about this is what happened to, the Lemurian, and after the timeline genocide, when whole universe was uncreated, this is a place the being went in a void space who lost the memory of who they were and who they are now. So this is why the 18th universe was created now. So parasitic overtakers of our prime creator can go here to create their own universe before this uncreational event happened. And then we're going to be all go back to the void space, and that's another mess that we have to deal with. So basically, this void space of blank Akashic brand new consciousness. And he goes on and he goes on. If you remember, he explained about nothingness concept, which is very interesting because we kind of gained a new understanding of what is the I am presence technology. Technology is. So let me stop here before we go into the new universe. I just want to get the pulse from everyone around the table. So we just discussed about the 50 multidimensional beings, 18th universe. I remember our universe is a 17th universe. He described there are, in fact, graduates and who are already there. And then he kind of touched upon a void space. So I know I kind of feel the Zachary's energy. He's like really thinking hard. I don't know, you want to go first on this?
I just was thinking, I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but the multidimensionals, I guess 3 volunteered to be recycled. But, you know, however that's breaking down. But they get to go, they weren't defeated, they were evicted.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get to go have their Coke binge somewhere else. And I don't know, that just doesn't seem in the mentality that I've been programmed in, justice, right? Where's the justice in that? For all the pain and suffering. Really? They just get to go do it somewhere else?
Oh, that's the 6th in the 18th universe you're talking about?
Yeah.
They lose their memory, though, don't they? And that's where he was saying that they have to come together, you know, with the fire and the spark and have everyone come, you know, enough fuel to start it. And if they go there in unknowingness, they're kind of, you know, floating there.
Yeah, so I'm in between.
I was just,
Go ahead.
okay, go ahead.
Go
No,
ahead.
this is Todd.
Sorry.
Yeah, so the 18th is where they will go, but isn't it like a reboot? Like Carl had said, that they have to start fresh without memory and continue on from there. So it won't just be like a constant party moving over to the 18th.
Sleep it off and let's start again.
Yeah.
Very concept. Let's party, you know. But I kind of agree with both of you because the way Andrew, I don't know, some of you listen over and over. I bet you, Zachary, you did, because all the minions and if who are, you know, like a brainless follower go with them, right? And I just cannot imagine they accept it. Because remember, Andrew said in a Lance White interview, you know, some of them accepted or about to accept because Prime Creator offered an irresistible offer.
It is like the mafia.
Yeah.
An offer you can't refuse.
Well, if you keep thinking along that line, though, we begin to question about Prime Creator. Because, you know, so I'm not sure where you want to go with it. Is the right question to keep asking on your behalf? Maybe we should focus on maybe we do not want to go 18th universe.
Well, I would just say, you know, like Dave was talking, that so maybe they have amnesia now. But they're pretty clever. You know, it might be eons, but I bet they get it going again. That just would be my hunch.
Yeah, I would think, from what I understood, is that if and when they got it manifested, it would have that theme of archetypal and domination, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so then that asks the further question, you know, when he's talking about graduating from Earth. So that doesn't mean then graduating to this other place. It just means graduating here. And I guess it's just back onto our migration pattern.
Or come back again here. Come back here again to experience a new Earth.
Seventh dimensional seed planet, you know, status once the 3D is broken.
Well, isn't that why it's been put in? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It looks like I got cut off. I'm sorry. Isn't that why basically the dark and the light have been placed in these planetary situations so we can realize the difference between the two and grow from there?
Yeah.
You know,
Galactic ascension.
so it will eventually have that type of environment to allow others to realize where to move on from.
Yeah. I don't think this is just a light, dark, and light anymore because of that. That was kind of all the theme brought from other universe and kind of plugged here, and you know this became. This is signal say Makiko shot. Okay, that's a good signal to move on to the next.
So here's a quick thought, though. I thought might be interesting, and to move on, but I'd be interested in Dave's take, Makiko, anybody, but you know, by talking about the 18th universe, by lending our consciousness to all this, wouldn't that be giving power to it to possibly exist? Then if we focus on it, that they might be able to start it up again? Aren't we actually assisting them in doing that by even thinking about it?
You're getting sleepy. You multi-dimensional beings.
Right?
I think it's already been created, even though that might be in the future.
So somebody voted the firecracker. Is that your new music record?
Todd, what are you doing?
Todd's got a funny connection somehow. He's like,
Sorry, sound.
There's other people trying to get in on this group that can't seem to get in.
there it is.
Has anybody got advice on how to get into the
Oh yes.
this group?
Can somebody give this link to them? I'm gonna put onto the sidebar.
There's somebody.
Here you go.
Yay!
I'm on. Oh my God, I've tried forever.
Yeah, Rosie, welcome finally with the full audience.
I've watched you the entire time for forever.
Hello, Rosie.
Welcome.
Hi.
So we're talking about 15 multi-dimensional being, but anyway, good to see you.
Thank you.
Where are you calling from?
Cape Coral, Florida.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm in Clearwater.
Oh, yeah, you're right around the corner.
Yeah.
Carl, the girlfriend.
So we also talked about the void space. I had an idea that I wanted to share.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe all that there is void space, and that all the universes are simply illusion.
Okay.
The illusion was created, I mean, when you have it, because the creation of a particle, when a being creates a particle, what happens is when they view the particle, the act of viewing it exactly as it is in truth causes it to not be in existence again. So to obtain persistency, a being creates a particle and then adds a lie. Oh, Todd, that was a nice particle you created, even though I created it. So now it can
Isn't that based on quantum theory?
Yeah.
Same thought.
Okay. Yes, Todd, I hear you. The basis of a quantum theory.
Sorry.
To be guy. Oh, sorry, Todd. You maybe you could use like a sidebar chat bar, so we could at least hear you and then respond back and forth. So go back to Carl. I like that the way you ask a question and challenge. For this particular discussion, we may want to talk about something that more inspiring, because if we go down that route, I went down that route as well. Nothing we do doesn't matter because this is all illusion, and it's just we are creating it.
Well, we're still playing the game. I mean, it's so the creation of those particles is so we're just not bored sitting around in the void space. You know, we can have some fun.
I had a question before. If we stop thinking anything, we just completely stop our thought form, the consciousness or whatever, is prime creator could exist?
Well, isn't prime creator just a being like us? I mean, can't we be a prime curator? One of the 15 multidimensional beings going to be a prime creator?
Yeah.
Why can't I be a prime creator sometime in the future?
I think you are a prime creator, but I think we are only one small aspect of being a prime creator. I think I had passed over 2 different occasions, and the last time that I had passed was some years back, and they took me from the 12th dimension, stepped me down to the 11th, explained everything and showed me, then to the 10th, and then to the 9th. On the 9th, I met a being that I've many years later recognized in my life. We came into a partnership and became friends, but you recognized instantly. But I think as you go down in dimensions, you actually prepare yourself to come to the 3rd dimension. So we're actually all an aspect. I think we are all source creating experiences through polarity based on duality, and then that whatever we get goes to our higher soul, literally goes back to prime creator. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, because when I was on that side after passing, my first question is, what is good and what is bad? Because my life was such a harsh life at that time, and they said, well, what is up? Is it good or is it bad? What is down? Is it good or is it bad? And I was I didn't even understand the question, and I was just numbed. And finally they said, there is no good or bad. It's all about the experience. And we basically choose that experience before we incarnate, or most of the experience, the theme. We choose our theme for soul growth. Everything comes down to your initial soul growth. And sometimes we contract. Some people contract to be the bad guy, while other people contract to be the good. And it just repeats itself over and over. And all this expression goes back to prime creator, which is source.
Yeah. I think you said very well.
When I was on the other side, for them to give me understanding and clarity, because to me they were so advanced, and I was like equivalent to a 5-year-old, they had me look up, and when I looked up, there was this huge mirror. I mean, it encompassed everything I can see. It was so big, and ultimately they dropped the mirror. It fell down, and it smashed into billions of pieces. They showed me each soul can go as just a piece of dust from that mirror, was a soul spark. And then they told me that the souls are created in the 9th dimension. But basically, when I spoke with Andrew, and we've spoken several times, he already knew everything that I had experienced while on that side. I mean, he told me, he brought confirmation after confirmation and brought much clarity, which shifted me into a higher perspective of awareness.
Excellent. Maybe you could teach
Wow, thanks.
Awesome.
a little bit more. This is interesting, though. We have a lot more questions about the soul creation and prime creator. I wonder if we're gonna stop a little bit more, and then perhaps you could add a little bit more about the source.
Okay, the mirror was one soul. It was the soul prime creator. And when it smashed, it literally broke itself apart into many, many souls, and then that would be one life aspect of us. They showed me in the ninth dimension. What they showed me in the ninth dimension was that's when prime creator first breathed forth the soul. That's the ninth dimension. That's when a soul spark is born. And it's in that dimension that they have the keeper of the souls, which they call the mother of the souls, and her job is to take care of them, baby, fresh, newborn souls. And what it does is, as we, in our life, go up and graduate from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th and educate ourselves, on that side, it's reversed, because you learn, there is no time and space on that side. But what you learn on that side, you gain whatever information you gain through that ninth dimension, and then you ultimately go step down into the eighth dimension, which is where you experience light, and you learn everything about the light. And then that soul step down into the seventh dimension, and that is sound. And then, of course, it goes to the sixth, fifth, fourth, until it comes to the third. And when it gets to the third dimension, that doesn't mean that it has the ability to be a physical incarnation of a being, a human being, or any being. It could be a blade of grass for eons or a rock for eons, until that soul experiences what it needs to experience before it graduates up the ladder in our dimension. So it's completely different from our perspectives on this side.
Interesting, though, because we tend to think it's going up. Your perspective was going down.
Yeah, everything was going down. They took me to the 12th dimension, which I can't give you information from the 12th, 11th, and 10th, because it wasn't something I was to share. But they would not let me see the 13th dimension, because I don't think I was ready for that at this point. But what Andrew brought to light that I didn't know, because my perspective of returning through the death process twice, was I was equivalent to what I would consider on this side a little baby, being the personality of 5 years old. Maybe they kept a part of ego in me because I had to have that to bring the information back. I don't know. But what Andrew told me, that I was on that side, that I was a universal source oracle for this world, for this third dimensional world. And that I have other universal source oracles from other places, universes, coming in to hold that space that you were speaking about earlier. That space that you were speaking about never existed until now. And a lot of the beings that are in this world in flesh are literally wearing out because it takes so much energy to carry that space. That hasn't, I mean, we're just holding space, waiting for whatever is supposed to take over it to happen. And that's what, and we still have to hold that space. And we're doing that, you know, while we're in physical form here.
Are you talking about the 18th universe?
I was talking about, yes, the 18th. Well, it's an area that is, well, you're talking about that was space that was existing. There are universal beings here that are holding space now outside of this universe for something that new is going to come. I also was told that there was going to be a separation of densities that would be separating into 4 direct timelines. The first timeline would be to oneness and unity, and all the people that gravitate, or all the souls that are ready for that, will go in that direction. The second timeline will be service to others. The third timeline will be service to self. That would be the 15-dimensional beings that you were talking about earlier. And then, of course, the last timeline would be the souls that are repeating the world of competition, which is where we are now at this point.
So that thing that we're holding space for, that wouldn't be the 4th option that Andrew was talking about, would it?
He said when we're holding the space, he said that whatever that was had not been created. We're holding space for whatever it is to happen or for it to be used for hadn't been created at this point. But he did say that a lot of beings that are so exhausted because they're physically fatigued out, there was a small percentage that they had to leave and then just go to the other side because they couldn't physically handle it, be here and hold the space.
And is that the fourth option?
Fourth option would be returning the souls that want to return to where we are now, which is the world of competition. That's
Well,
this world.
No, but that's the of the four options that you were talking about. But Andrew was talking about a fourth choice rather than being.
Oh, I must have missed that. I'm just talking about my personal private reading with Andrew.
Right. So I'm just asking a question to see if you knew what we were holding the space for.
Oh no, that's what I'm talking about. He said it was these universal source oracle beings that are holding the space. That's what and I was one of them. And that's why I'm going through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering in physical form now. It's because I'm holding that space.
Hey, can we go back to you again, because we love to hear your story a lot more. How about we going to download the fourth option to you now, and then other people, and come back to this discussion so that we have a little bit more information to go about, and you have information that downloaded to us. So I like to broadcast a fourth option. And then can we talk about this after?
Sure.
Excellent. Oh, I love you. This is cool. We like those new information.
Absolutely.
Just bear with me. I'm sharing a screen again. Please let us know there is a Facebook Messenger, not the side of it because I can't see it. If you have an issue with audio or visual. I'm switching to the presentation now. You should see the void space now.
Yep.
Okay, good. Good, good. They're going to talk about the fourth option.
Would that just be something like pure freedom or pure creation? Or is there any
A fourth option represents the beginning of a fourth sex. And then the fourth sex creates a whole different way of incarnating and giving birth, which totally changes the function of the DNA skin suit and the types of souls that incarnate in the skin suit. They go from 7-color experiencing time beings to 8-color experiencing time beings. That means we can manifest as a stream of consciousness in this universe and any other universe that we want to. We are no longer a localized event. The soul is a fully non-localized event. That makes sense to you?
is that in a way that's somewhat into tapping into other universes and using their totally new colors for our creation, which we're used to just the 7 colors of creation?
Our universe,
is that like tuning?
Yes, our universe is going to be adding an 8th color, and we are going to be the artists or graffiti artists that make the rest of this universe the 8th color. That's what the fourth option is intended to be. Beings that come in with a totally different source expression of how they live in every way, shape, and form. You no longer use karma as a means of energy of spiritual exchange and learning. You create a whole new frequency that does not use polarity as an exchange of knowledge and wisdom or the evolution of souls.
But it is an essential component because without it, the other would not exist, right? In the polarity sense. Okay.
Until one is ready to choose an option that doesn't use polarity as the co-creative process of evolution.
And that's an option within our universe?
That is the option that's being created when we go through our DNA crystallization. And then our species and all species related to our DNA will become the central teachers of this new way, this fourth option.
So
Okay, let me stop here. This is how I messed up last time, but this is probably meant to be so that so you guys could, new people could join us, and this is a pretty good discussion as well. So he talks about the fourth option as a part of a new Earth. like you said, there is a separation of density. People are going to stay at the third density, which is what you said about the competition base. We're still here. The Earth will hold those population. But also the people who are ready for the fourth option, you ready or not, basically, he said it will be coming. It's just never been seen. Like only after you cross over, however you call it. In your case, you're saying a different timeline. You, as if you're never left, you just wake up from your wrong dream. So as an individual soul experience, you just don't see, oh, now I've jumped the timeline, rather than more like kind of seamless. But from, as you said, like from top of your perspective, looking down, it was a clear separation and a full timeline going on simultaneously, coexisting on the same planet, on planet Earth.
Right.
Is that kind of that?
Yeah, it's like changing the frequency from radio station 95.7 to 108.9. We're all in the same space, but we only see from the point of vibration that we're vibrating from. However, the difference being when you're in a higher vibration frequency, like if you and I were together and for whatever reason your soul chose to stay in third dimension and my soul went to ninth dimension, I would literally, I would be gone in the blink of an eye, even though we could be standing facing each other. I would disappear from your view. However, from my perspective of looking down, I would still know where you are and what was going on. I would never, I mean, I would still know what you were going through. Whereas from your perspective, I would just be gone out of your vision and stream of thought completely, entirely. If that makes any sense.
It's in a way it's a cool perspective that everybody wants to have, you know, as a part of the luxury, right? I mean, everybody wants to have a bird eye view, in a sense, and then some people do have a capability, ability, such as, you know, maybe part of you or Andrew. And this is why it's important for us to come together and discuss some of the topic, because it's become more like a, you know, you deepen understanding, and perhaps we could have a glimpse of that perspective, even though we're still here. So that's why it's very exciting to have somebody like you, and then, or even other people, right, sharing their own thought, and then never thought about that way. And this is why I love to have those kind of interactive webinar, just not just the one-way download, listening to the expert. So thank you. I just want to pass around the mic, see somebody else want to add to, or have a question, and then I also want to have a Rosie to kind of could give us a quick introduction of who you are, especially also talking about ninth dimension down.
Sorry. So you want an introduction? Okay.
Yeah,
My name's Rosie. I own dealerships in Florida for quite some time, but many years ago when I was living in Minnesota, I raised my children there. I had an accident and I ended up passing, but I didn't pass from surgical, I passed from anesthesia. And I have to tell you, I could tell you how it felt. I literally went through the top of my head. I came out and I was at the right-hand side of the ceiling in the medical hospital. I watched them continuing to work on me, and they had a radio football game blasting in the surgical room, and basically I was there witnessing when the nurse kept saying, we're losing her, and then calling off the blood pressure as it continued to drop. But I'll have to tell you what surprised me is that nobody really, there was no sense of urgency like you see in the movies, like in ER. They were so interested in this Super Bowl or whatever that they were listening to. And then the next thing you know, I had a thought, and whatever that thought was, and in my case, my thought was my mother, who I haven't seen in many years, and I appeared in front of her instantly. Before the thought completed, it was instantly, and I didn't know I had passed. Even though I'm in that room above my body, I didn't recognize that to be myself because I still felt alive. I didn't feel that I was out of it. I felt like the way I feel now. When I appeared in front of my mother, She happened to be on a phone that was on the wall back in the day with a long cord speaking, and I was really disappointed because I haven't seen her for many years, and she completely ignored me, and my feelings were very hurt, and I thought of my heart. Sorry, I thought of my heart, that being my grandmother, and I immediately, before that thought completed itself, I was with my grandmother, and she was sitting on a chair talking to my mother, but she didn't recognize me or acknowledge my presence either, no matter what I did. And then ultimately, the next thing I knew, I was back in the hospital room watching what was happening in there, and I went, it's like I zoomed right above the body that was on the table that they were working on, and when I got right in front of my own face, I recognized that that was me. And once I had that recognition, there was a very gentle, gradual pull, which pulled me into the tunnel. So that's kind of what was my experience was.
That's wow, like watching a movie. That's cool.
Well,
I mean,
it kind of is. It kind of is. I would tell you, the amazing thing was when you're going into the tunnel, you realize it is a voided space. There is no longing, wanting. There is no more thinking about family, friends, separation, none of that stuff. It's all gone. You're completely in a blissful, peaceful state of being. You still feel like you are you. You don't know, I mean, you don't know that you're not. It still feels like you're the person that you are. And then you start thinking, you realize when you look that there's a light way down there, a very bright light, like a train. And then you start thinking, or what I start thinking about is all the questions, because I realized that something's going on and I was going to go see somebody that had answers. And it was at that point that as I got closer to the, what I would kind of guess as the center of this tunnel, something shifted. And I would equate it to, you know, them little sticks when you go trick-or-treating, the kids have, they're kind of green and you crack them and they fluorescent.
Yeah.
Well, it felt like something happened to my soul, that it cracked, and all of a sudden all these questions that I was so emotional about, wanting to have answers to, were literally gone. And at that point, there were no questions because you already knew everything. The answers were there for everything. And then you continue to the light, and then ultimately when you come out to the light, you have total knowing and understanding. But I still think, for whatever reason, there was part of my personality, that little rosy girl was still there, and maybe I had to be there to retain some kind of memory when they allowed me to come back through.
Back to that body at the hospital.
No, I went to the other side. I thought, when I was talking to Andrew, I told Andrew that I felt, because there is no time there, but it felt like I was probably there for 11 months or so. And that's when they went and literally put me through dimension after dimension, teaching me everything and giving me perspectives. And then I remember meeting Andrew there. We were together, planning a lifetime out together. And but it wasn't the Andrew that you see. It wasn't like the guy that I see when I'm Skyping. It's like it was his frequency I recognized. We have a resonance frequency, everybody, like a fingerprint, and you absolutely recognize that frequency. And that's what the Andrew that I was on the other side with. And of course, Andrew agreed that he was there. On that side, and they told me that was the 5th dimension where I was at, but on that side, Andrew, or the being that you know as Andrew in this life, Andrew on that side, they considered him to be like a master manipulator. And I don't mean in a negative sense. I mean, he was like, everybody wanted him because he could see the future, and he could see the timelines, and he could come in. And it's like a game of chess, literally. It's like a game of chess. So I might see you, I might be in my car at a stop red light, stopped, and you may be in the car next to me. But that quick turn of the head for that 1 second, our eyes lock. That was written in the timeline. It's literally meant to be. It's not by accident.
So you got a new body.
Sounds like you're like in the divine or in the sacred neutral in the Akashic Live, is what they were teaching you.
I don't have a clue, but I would tell you there's a lot of, I've learned so much. But Andrew told me that my perspective of being there for 11 months was wrong. I was there for like 40 years.
What?
Yeah, because we don't have time. I could be gone for 40 years and put back in. When I woke up on this side, they already had me toe tagged and the death certificate signed. They had me covered on a metal table, and they were taking me to a morgue. They put my body. There was like 4 or 5 nurses there. They put my body in this location with another body. And I remember when I jumped back in, I came back through the head and I snapped in the body. It didn't fit right. And then I remember just taking that breath of air. And when I did, I literally sat up on the table and hit my head on something. And everybody in that room screamed and ran. That is literally what happened.
Oh my God! Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were putting you in the drawer?
It was, yeah. I didn't quite get to the drawer, thank God. I don't think I would have been able to get up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I hosted this show because today, just to have this conversation, because David and I were thinking, oh my God, what have we done? We're so exhausted. We still have to do this webinar. It's like, can we cancel it? But always fun to have this. So this is my proposal. Since this webinar is supposed to finish soon, how about Rosie? Perhaps can we talk real briefly after with with probably everybody else too, to kind of have like a mini webinar. You, Andrew, and probably could something to teach us, something as a collective that beneficial to hear some of your story. If you don't mind, to spare time with us, spend some time with us in the next.
I don't mind. It's just getting in. I have a hard time getting in this thing. I've been locked out. I've been trying to get in since you first came on, and it just, I don't even know why, but I've been locked out.
Okay, so. It's from our end. We don't lock out people. I think you and Jillian, do you guys know each other?
We were on the other side together too. Yeah, she was
Rosie
there too.
knows a lot more than I do. My I Am Presence doesn't know as much as Rosie does.
We both work with Andrew. Julian and I connect through Andrew.
Okay, cool. There's some reason why. There's some reason why we are all here in this room. Actually, there's no coincidence, like you said. So let me close this webinar because I know Andrew's office wants to have this. So we're gonna do that, and we're just gonna close with this our 4th option, 8th color in the music, and we're gonna close this broadcast. But stay on after I stop broadcast. Let's chat a couple of minutes if you don't mind.
Okay.
And let me bring back this musician, and I'm hoping Zachary, are you still there?
Yeah.
Great. So I'm gonna put the Jimi Hendrix, and maybe perhaps you could add some, color or texture to this because there's some musicians back there, and we're gonna end this part 2. Let me see. Is everybody seeing it? Just
Yep.
Okay. Excellent.
Yep.
All right. So basically, let's see. Jimi Hendrix. Let me go back one. Yeah, who was Jimi Hendrix, Zachary?
Who was he?
Yeah, who was he?
Well, Andrew said he was an ayahuasca entity.
Mm.
All of the details he said, I would have to listen again. I couldn't recite them for you. But
I think he had said. Oh, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, Todd.
I think he had said that he was only one song away from changing the whole world at one point.
Yeah, one song away.
And bringing a new color.
Yeah.
Was sent from another universe to translate into English frequency their version of music. believe is another layer on that. So it makes a lot of sense, though, because he has so many songs. Neptune, Third Stone from the Sun, you know, Angel, all these metaphysical references in so much of his music.
Cool.
Watchtower.
Yeah, Watchtower, that was actually a Bob Dylan song.
Yeah.
All along the Watchtower is a Bob Dylan song.
I don't know any of those songs. I love to. Somebody sent me, right? Sent to me lyrics. It would be great songs to, like run like behind. I don't know, one of those videos. That's how I got in trouble last time, but that's cool.
So yeah, I found that on YouTube. Jimi Hendrix, they really hawk Jimi Hendrix. They've strictly policed that copyrighted material, unlike a lot of other material.
Yeah. So I don't think exactly. I just want to stop here and go around the table. If you don't mind, if you're not ready, that's okay. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable or put it on a hot seat because they don't want to come back again. But with all those knowledge that given by Andrew, it's amazing teaching. In a various different knowingness and level of understanding we have, it definitely did change our perception, right? And then the way we see ourselves and then how we interact with 3D. I just want to hear how this teaching changed to you and your future or your plan. And I'm not sure who wants to. Nice. I love this background of chirping noise, by the way. I must be. Or you, Zachary? So I kind of like to go on the table. Like, if you could describe one word, it's fine. If you don't want, if you could say, it's great. But that's something I love to hear. Study from revocation. He taught about this being, how to be holding a sacred neutrality, 18th universe, void space, soul migration, and new fourth option. So what we information?
You first, Makiko.
My first?
Yes.
I think it's a lot more now, but also like a immense pressure that since we can die, we're always gonna look back and what the hell did I do on this earth, right? So I definitely want to pursue my mission or whatever I set forth, and I want to have as much as fun as I want. I could have. I would like to experience it, and perhaps love to surprise a galactic historian.
Good.
Anybody?
Well, the thing that I really became more real and solid for me is that anything that I want, anything I want to do, anywhere I want to go, anything I want to know, ask the universe, it will come. Live your dream. Decide you can live your dream, and then live your dream. You can do it. You can manifest whatever you want.
Cool. Love it.
There's so many layers to it. It's still sinking in with me. Just tonight when you said no coincidences, Rosie was talking about making eye contact in the void and how she could see just a simple thing like that was actually contracted to happen. No coincidences. I mean, that just was like a new level of understanding. Just for that, we've all heard there's no coincidences. We've heard Andrew say that for a long time. But then there was another depth to it right there. So it's an ongoing, forever process.
It's a growth for the soul. But understand, you still have free will. I mean, when I was in the fifth dimension, I for sure did not want to come back here. life is hard here. It is literally the hardest place and the thickest of density that you can be out of all the other dimensions and universes that I have been to. But I will also tell you that there is nobody here, and I don't care how broken, I don't care if they're a drug addict, an alcoholic, or how violent that person can be, there is nobody that exists in this world that is lesser than anybody else, because just being here, when you're in the other dimension, and mine happened to be at that point the fifth dimension, you have an insignia that's on the right side that you wear below your shoulder, and everybody knows you have been here. And not everybody can come and have this kind of a thick density, contrasting polarity experience. It's a very, very difficult place to be. You think about this for a minute. In the beginning, when they first start bringing beings here, Lemuria's time, when they incarnated back in the day, they came here knowing who and what they are. They had memory. They had understanding. They were awakened. They made the game a lot more difficult, and we agreed to it, by being blinded, having the veil of forgetfulness, and then jumping through to come into this holographic experience, not knowing who and what we are. And literally, the only thing that we know is what we're taught as an infant from our parents. And you start taking on your parents and your peers and your friends, and indoctrination of schools and society. And you think you are that, but we are so much more than that. We are so beyond powerful. And then you have these 15 beings that broke themselves up into 40% of the population, and then ultimately took control of us because they knew how and what. They knew how to get around our free will. We give our free will by passive consent every day, from moment to moment, and we're not even aware we do it 90% of the time. So, I mean, this is a very, very difficult place to be. However, on the other aspect, once you awaken, you will awaken to understand how powerful you are. You are beyond belief powerful. It's just that you have not, you don't know the protocol to use it, maybe. You don't remember, and right now you are remembering. You're reconnecting all your soul sharks back to you with memory. And I think that's what the reading with Andrew did for me. He took me from, as he said, I was like 30% awake to actually being, can't even tell you how much I am from where I was. I mean, I'm just so awakened. I mean, I'm doing work that I couldn't even comprehend. I didn't have the ability to understand in my human brain the things that I am doing now, thanks to Andrew. Just by him bringing me more information of where I was, why I was, and who I am, allowed me the gift to step into everything that I am and more.
Fascinating. I would definitely love to, have you more, later. More women are to come with Rosie. Yay!
Sticking with the rock theme of Jimi Hendrix, what you just described remind me of Pinball Wizard by The Who. Definitely the kid. Yet he becomes the wizard.
Anybody else want to take after this?
Yeah, this is Susan.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, so I found out about Andrew about a year ago from his 2014 one of his interviews, and from the moment he began speaking, I connected, and I've been on his. I've just been interested in everything he's done since the first moment I heard him, and so that was a synchronicity for me. And then as I listened to all the call-in shows, it's like almost like every person I can just totally relate to. There's some aspect of me that resonates with what the caller is saying. I followed pretty much a shamanic apprenticeship for a while, and so that part of his teaching really resonates. But I'm kind of in an isolated area where I'm not really getting out there and sharing. So I'm really interested in this brain trust thing. That really resonated with me, and it at a really.
Where are you located now?
I'm in Idaho, which is so isolated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Come and get you.
I know. I'd love to come and meet anybody, but Rosie, when you shared on one of the shows, I just about came unglued with the resonance, and so I just want to thank you for that, and I'm so happy that you're here today. But I just really, really just feel at home with just being with Andrew, and I'm really not, Natalie and everybody. So there's just been one synchronicity after another, and I started doing the contract revocations right away. I mean, right away, and my life changed right away. Everything just started building and growing and expanding and healing, and I probably did them every day for 8 months straight, and then
Wow.
little break. And
you got a friends here.
Yeah, Susan, you're not isolated anymore.
No.
Yeah. Hey, and I'm sorry I missed the contract revocation webinars, but it's okay. I'm here now, and
Well, don't worry. We'll do it again. As soon as we find the six people, we'll start.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to participate and share my experience further with
absolutely. Just I don't know. You have a link. I'm just gonna make it more obvious. Maybe even 4 or 5. Have it. We're gonna do the like this is gonna be second one's gonna be more tight boot camp, like a little bit more extreme boot camp.
I'll say my background is science, and
me too.
I absolutely have I want to say my gift is a seeing into what's new coming around. Like I knew 20 years ago they would be using methane for renewable energy, that kind of thing. Like what's coming down the line, kind of, you just know. It's not anything you learned in school. Like you just So it's kind of a knowing that's kind of one of my gifts, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with it. So I'm kind of interested in how we got to bring it into 3D and 4D or whatever, how we're supposed to bring our. So
if you like the science aspect, I just posted a link on the Friends Who Like Andrew website. That's heavy duty science, so you'll like that.
Yeah, so I know a lot about human biology and so on. So yeah.
Thank you.
That was my career. But I'm retired, so I have full-time availability. So
yeah. Hey, me too. We have a similar career. So excellent. Let's talk more about that later. Anybody else?
That's it. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Susan. Zachary, Carl. No, I think Carl went.
Well, one of the greatest things for me is just finding out now about everybody and our interaction, and so that's been a tremendous thing to meet up with you people. What were you going to say, Todd?
Hey, well, ever since basically I've been coming along here, I'm grateful and thankful every day because I've created peace and healing all around me, and it definitely spreads farther and wider now. And and when I connected with Andrew too, that was absolutely a resonance. It's like hearing stuff you already know. A lot of it. Sure, he speaks of things that are very teaching to us, but I have that resonance with it that it seems like I've heard it all before. So coming along through my awakening too, I had a big experience with music, with lyrics for music of many bands, and one of them being David Bowie, who I spent time with, and I started to find all kinds of stuff throughout his lyrics. And now they're trying to spin it into his death was a satanic ritual or a, it was all planned out and all that. I don't know where that goes or whatever. Maybe ask Andrew about that sometime. But, it's like it was some big Illuminati plot that the way he died and when he died, and there was all these things related to it. But I have a lot of lyrics in my life that have touched me deeply since this has started. And basically, I grow every day. I'm trying to master that manifestation thing because I probably have the least amount materially than I've ever had in my life. I have a place to live, and I've got my child, and we live happily, and we don't go hungry. But it's time for us to move on and start expressing ourselves a little more, a little louder out there. That's it.
Hey, Todd, thank you. Actually, but you are inspiring so many people than you think. Just the way you are. It's actually really inspired me. Every time I feel down, well, look at the Todd, gosh, you feel like that.
I always remain happy, and I don't care what situation it is. I've been able to do that, and I feel proud about that because it's things people have noticed in me, and people around me who were in very bad funks have soaked it up, and they're so easy and kind and happy around me that I feel it's got to have reflected off of me somehow.
Yeah.
And I have this thing, with my visions and my photography. I have far more than I've ever shown. I photograph things every day that can, you could look deeply into them and travel even deeper into them and find phenomenal visions and things that I've captured. And I'm basically looking to do something with that. If anybody's interested, maybe a YouTube channel or something, because there's a load of people out there who are really excited about this stuff.
Yeah, cool, Todd. I know on videos I post, I'm always scouring the internet for images to put on them.
Well, we got to work together a little more closely, Zach.
Yeah, I'll get with you and throw you some themes or whatever I got.
Right. Or I'd like to just give you maybe a little catalog and you could piece through it and say, wow, because I don't know exactly what everybody else sees in the stuff that I do. It's very interpretive, and I would like to get, a bigger, wide scope of opinion on it,
Yeah, that may be something.
Cool. That'd be fun.
Fine Art America, have you tried that, where you can post stuff and just present it to the world?
Yeah, like I said, I can even do it on YouTube. I've just been dragging it a little bit, not sure exactly how to approach it yet and stuff, but or go through others who are already on that path, maybe to get a kickstart or something.
It's the time for the meditation and manifestation, so.
I hear you, Makiko. And I'm smiling.
Hey, Jillian, do you want to jump in there?
Sure. I was just listening to everybody, and it really sounds like me speaking when I'm hearing you guys. I relate to all of that. When I came across Andrew, it was a very sharp moment in my life. I just feel like it was a defining moment in my life because I really approached it through the truther movement. I've always been very medically orientated, sort of trying to find reasons why we all get ill, and I've been awake in that sense, knowing that domination and control system was in place. And when Andrew came along, he added so much dimension to what I already knew. It was, it opened up so much for me. I was in a very interesting place. I was in so many forks in the road, and I'd also prayed for someone to come and guide me, because I was just churning over the same old stuff. And I'd been to 2 years of every Wednesday listening to Buddhism practice and going to meditation, but I wasn't going to take the leap of faith and jump into Buddhism. I learned a lot through Buddhism. You know, it was a great learning thing for me, but yeah, that wasn't me. I'm just not into any kind of system. It's got to be my way. And yeah, pretty much I can say he added the extra dimension of me believing in magic. And yeah, I'm a real novice when it comes to anything spiritual. The spiritual jargon goes way over my head. You know, people use terminology and talk Reiki, and they're talking shamanism and all that stuff I don't know. But everything that Andrew said when I first came across him, I was listening to an interview with Vinnie Eastwood, who's a alternative news guy for New Zealand, basically exposing everything that's happening. And he interviewed Andrew, and sorry, Vinnie, you lost me at that point. I went jump boat and onto everything that Andrew had to say, and yeah, that's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that Vinnie Eastwood stuff was good.
Yeah.
I love Vinnie's attitude and his, you know, flipping the finger to the whole system of domination and control with humor.
Oh, I love his sense of humor. His humor in being able to alchemize that bad energy is just amazing. Yeah.
Cool. Did everybody go?
Yeah, I think so. Unless David wanted to add something.
Oh, there you go. No?
Well, what I leave with this is the fourth option and the end of the galactic ascension scene, and no more karma. So what is the next intention to create? If we are creative beings, co-creative beings with this, and we're now free of that, what are we going to do? What is the fourth option? And that's what I'm going to ponder.
I think fourth option is so cool. This is a kind of like a life that I'm waiting for. No more pregnancy. My goodness, no more hard labor. We can co-create with like people who have spiritual ego, and this energy comes out. Yeah, that's my world.
That's interesting. Where he said the fetus will be inseminated through thought or something. That was kind of an interesting deal he was talking about. We'll have to talk about that next time on the fourth option.
Oh, who we've already been when we were the ant crab people.
No, that's right. That's what
we had babies by making energy, and then the baby would manifest into the energy.
Yeah, like a Goborian species. Welcome to our old time.
The ant grabbers, huh?
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, right. Didn't he say that the fourth option, then we can travel through any of the other universes at will? We're not just localized, right? So we can be in this universe and go back and see our friends, which are still in the previous universes. We've left friends. We have family that didn't come with us to this universe, and we go back and say hi.
Yeah, it just happened to be going to be stink bug or something.
Not as you, though.
Sorry, Dave likes stink bugs, so I can't say anything bad about them.
Oh well. They're wonderful.
Well, you two get friends together. You guys go together. Me out of that. All right. Hey, no joke. Thank you so much. You have no idea how treasure this is and how precious this is. I'm so honored. Seriously, I'm so honored to meet you all and have this moment. It's like one in billion.
Again.
1 in billion stats. It's unbelievable. Isn't it? I didn't know any of you before. Like literally, like what, last year?
Maybe you did. Probably did.
Maybe in a La La Land, but no, seriously.
In another planet.
I know, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Guaranteed. I don't care how it's done with it. So I'm so happy to meet you all, and in all the people who are gonna listen later. We are all very connected. So with this, we'll thank Andrew Bartriz and Contract Revocation and you all. So thank you so much for being here and listening to us.
Thank you for hosting me, Kiki.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Love you all. See you soon.
Much love.
Love you, Makiko.
Bye.
Bye.